Hi everyone, and welcome back to Amity Bloom. Today's video is going to be super fun because I finally have the second release of paper and fabric that I'm going to share with you for those who missed out on the provision boxes. And I have a project in mind that's going to be a little bit of a throwback that I used to include in my journals, and I thought I would create them on camera for you and then also show you how I use them in my journal. So today's video is going to be a lot of fun, and I'm going to start off with the lovely little products that we will be having in our shop. These little goodies will be in our shop at 7 o'clock p.m. Eastern Standard Time. So in the shop there's going to be a pack of paper. It's pretty much a paper bloom pack, but it has some leftover wallpapers from the provision boxes. Those will be cut into smaller pieces, of course, since we didn't have that much. But I also included full sheets of different and new antique wallpapers. And also with our little fabric bundles, it's a little mini fabric bundle, you'll notice. The size of these are pretty much similar if we put them on top of each other. They're so cute, these two together. And it measures about 5 by 6.5. And then the fabric bundle measures 4.5 by 5.5 to 6. And I've also included some new fabric that wasn't in the provision boxes. Some full sheets of different fabrics. I believe you get 3 different fabrics that weren't included in the provision boxes. It's a nice, cute little assortment. This is one of the new antique wallpapers that wasn't in the provision pack. It is so darling. If you guys saw the Provision Diaries video, then you've seen me talk about these antique wallpapers. This one is so darling. It's blue rosebud. So you'll notice some of them weren't in the provision boxes, as I wanted to keep them special to these little mini bundles of paper. This one is probably my favorite because it has a gray muted background, and it's really hard and difficult to find wallpaper that's like that. You'll also get some strips of different types of wallpapers, antique of course, ledgers, some French ephemera, some Italian papers. This wallpaper is so dreamy. The color palette is beautiful. Oops. And you also get some scrapbook papers, some more wallpaper strips, and then of course some scalloped squares of antique wallpaper, that lovely Tiffany blue, some heart confetti of some book paper and scrapbook paper, and a little French calligraphy sheet. And now moving on to the fabric bundle, they are all tied up with a piece of fabric, and they have this cute little tag that I had stamped, a really lovely floral illustration, and I stamped some numbers from my favorite little stamp. This is, I don't even know what this is called, but I call it my ledger stamp because it has the same numbers that are on ledger paper. So I thought that was really sweet. All of them will come with this lovely, lovely rose. It has like a salmon, orange, and blue toned rose. I'm actually going to be working with this fabric today for our project. This really lovely floral one. I believe I've shared this one before, and I still have a bit left. And I thought it matched really well with the pastel florals. All of them will look pretty much the same. You get linens and laces, some quilt pieces, some floral fabrics. They will just be different types, of course. This one I think I have a little bit more of, so I think all of them will also come with this cottage floral and some more laces and floral fabric. So that's just to give you an idea of what's going to be included in the bundles. And they all match pretty well with the color palette of the provision boxes, which is what I really enjoy. So if you're interested in a little pack of fabric and also a pack of papers, then definitely check out the shop tonight. So now moving on to the project, what I'm going to be using to create our paper clipboards is fabric and paper. Now I pulled from my little scrap bin of leftover pieces that we had after we created our bundles. You'll notice I'm using the tiniest little pieces, and I'm also using, and was luckily able to save, a nice amount of this shabby chic kind of rose fabric. And then I also have clipped on here the smallest little pieces of antique wallpaper, book pages, piano paper, pretty much using the scraps and leftovers from our paper kits. And I have some little pieces of paper that are always on my desk. So to start out with your paper clipboards, you just want a scrap piece of paper. You then want to choose some scrap paper. So I think I want to use this music paper. I really love the font. I really like the color palette and the flowers in this one, so I think I'm going to use that one. And I want to choose some fabric as well. I really like the lace. I think the lace will give it more dimension. So this is essentially all that you need in terms of like materials: a piece of fabric, lace or linen, some scrap paper, I'm using music paper, and a standout color paper, so I'm using antique wallpaper. And of course, your little clipboard base is measure the paper that you want to use, and you just want to cut it, right along the size of your paper clipboard. So I like to put my ruler and then just tear. I just find that that way is the easiest and it just doesn't require cutting. It's pretty easy if you just use your ruler. So that pretty much covers the base. Of my paper clipboard. And I like to glue that onto. So now that you have your little scrap paper to the size of your So now that you have your little scrap paper cut to the size of your clipboard, glue it onto your base. There we go, just like that. The next step is you want to take your fabric or your lace and you just want to cut smaller than the size of your clipboard base. So you don't want it to be too big. And then I'm going to trim it a little bit more. And then I'm just going to trim it just a little bit so that it doesn't cover our font or the decorative design that you have on that little scrap piece of paper that you glued on previously. And you'll notice how small of the lace I really needed. It's essentially like 2 inches by ½ inch. It's the smallest little piece, but you'll notice how much texture and how much it brings to your little paper clipboard in the end. So now I want to add some color, and I'm just going to cut my wallpaper the same size as my lace. And if you just like to use the fabric, you can stop with the fabric, but I think I want to incorporate both fabric and paper. Now I just want to trim it down a little bit more. And when you put it right on top of the lace, does this not look like a clip to a paper clipboard? I know it's not exactly the same thing. It's not like this. I actually have one. It's not like a real clip, and this is actually an antique little clip that I got from, I believe, my flea market. So it's not exactly like a real clip, but it symbolizes the essence and the design of a paper clipboard. We're just altering a little bit to have an excuse to use our wallpapers and our fabric in reality, but I just think this is so darling. And a really nice tip when you're creating your paper clipboards is start with a neutral base. If you start out with decorative paper or let's say scrapbook paper, you then have to work a little harder to find fabrics and like wallpapers that match it. So I like to start with a cream or white base and even a cream or white lace or linen, and then add the color by either adding a little strip of wallpaper, or if you want to just make it entirely out of fabric, you can also just snip a little tiny piece of some really nice floral fabric as well. So it just depends. I like the paper because it just contrasts with the fabric and it just makes it look so cute. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to fabric glue my paper strip right on top of my lace. And I like to put it right in the middle, in the center. Now that you have your paper piece glued onto your lace, you can decide if you want to pass it through your sewing machine, which is what I typically do, but I want to show you just how easy it is to do without a sewing machine. And you want to add a line of glue. Make sure it's just a line. You don't want to cover up the entire piece with glue. You just want to add one line of glue. Hopefully you can see that on camera, but I just added a line of glue right across the middle of my little clip. And then I just add that right in the center where we originally had it placed, making sure that you leave a little bit peeking through the back of the fabric or textile that you chose, and making sure that it's nice and adhered. The reason why I only like to add a strip of glue across and not on the entire piece is so that you can actually use this as a little mini text spot. And it kind of serves as a tab as well. If you want to put this into a pocket, you can easily pull it out. And since I folded my paper, I can easily open it up, use all of the space for journaling, and also journal on the top. So I have a page in my Artist in Bloom journal, and look at how cute it looks like in this little pocket. It is so adorable. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to play around with some more papers, and I'm going to decorate and journal on my little clipboard and show you how I use it in my journal. So I decided to cut these pieces in half instead of keep it as like a little flip out because I really love the design, and I'm going to make this another little clipboard but with a fabric base. And I think it's just so much fun how things originally start off as something that you didn't plan and they turn out being something completely different. Like, look at this one. Oh my gosh, that one's going to be so cute. And I might do, let's see, I might do this fabric perhaps. So I'm just going to cut my fabric just how I initially did in the beginning. We're going to add that right there. And then I'm just going to cut this wallpaper in half and perhaps use the piece that does not have a full floral design, as I think this one might be a little bit too much. Oh my gosh, this looks so darling. Okay, I'm going to add some glue, and then we're going to do that same process by adding a strip of glue going right across. Why does this look so cute? Clipboard shouldn't be this fun. But luckily in our journal community, clipboards is something that can be completely fun. I think I want to stamp on this one, so let me grab my little box here, as my surface is a little bumpy, so it's not the most ideal to stamp on. And I just want to add a really nice little floral decorative stamp, the same stamp that we are including on the little tags for your fabric bundles. I just thought it would be really sweet to finish it up with a little stamp. So these are two different versions of paper clipboards that you can create. A more simple version by taking just a plain base. You can do tea stain paper or cardstock, decorating it and collaging it on the top, and then adding your little strip of like a faux clip using fabric and paper. And then you can do this version, which is a more decorated version. Of course, you don't have to do it to this extreme, but I'm using a fabric base, so I'm covering this with fabric, collaging on the top, adding my little strip, and then just using some sentiments and paper on the bottom. So I think I'm going to put these in my journal, and I think I want to put this one, since it's more simple, in my traveler's notebook, and this one in my Artist in Bloom. So I have my two journals that I want to put my paper clipboards in, and I think I want to put this one in a cute little pocket, such as this one. Oh my gosh, this looks so lovely. Let me take these little pieces out and put my paper clipboard in. Look at how darling that looks like, you guys. And not only is it so adorable and cute, but it's also functional, as I can take a little label if I want to journal on top of here, but I don't want to write on the fabric. I could tuck in my little label right up here. This is so cute. I think I'm going to journal on here, as I can't resist. I can always take my little label and glue it onto the other page in case I want to see that beautiful fabric, but I think I'm just going to keep it clipped in as I like how it adds another layer and it just makes it look really adorable and like a real paper clipboard. So I'm going to close this journal up, and I'm going to see how I can use my other paper clipboard in my traveler's notebook. I think I found the place for my little clipboard. It just tucks in nicely into this pocket. It goes with the music theme as we use that little scrap piece. And since this is very cream and white, the little piece up at the top tends to stand out really well. So I think I found my space for it. So I just did some journaling on my little paper clipboard. And I like to put it into my pocket just like that, as I think it looks so cute. And just to show you how it would look like if you layered ephemera, like if you're creating a journal for someone or for yourself, if you add ephemera, it still doesn't lose like the focus. It is something that's so simple, yet it holds your attention and it makes you want to pull on this little tab, on this little clip, and read what's written on your paper clipboard. So I really, really loved this project. It was so incredibly easy and simple. We created 2 different paper clipboards with 2 different purposes and 2 completely different styles. And I wanted to share how I use them in my personal journals. I think both of these ways are really lovely and they're so much fun to create, and they're really easy to do as well. Since you don't need that many materials, all you need is your scraps that you have lying around all around you at this very moment. If you're like me, you have a pile of scraps of paper and fabric, and this is a great way to use them. Remember to check out the shop tonight at 7:00 p.m. if you want to purchase a little fabric bundle or a paper balloon pack. So definitely check out the store if you missed out on the provision boxes. And of course, until next time, I hope that you guys adored this project, that you didn't think it was too simple and easy. And until next time, I hope that your day is full of love, full of peace, and I will talk to you guys very soon. Bye-bye, and have a great day.